The depth of field setting also goes beyond wildlife photography, because with portraits of people, you also want to have shallow depth of field. Now, there was a time in my life where I did a lot of real estate photography for homes going up for sale. And often when I go in those homes, people would have like family portraits or senior portraits on a coffee table or on an end table or something like that, or on the wall. And I would take note. And some of those photographs weren't done very well because the background was in focus. And people still bought the pictures because they didn't know any better. Or maybe they just had their aunt or uncle take the pictures instead of a pro photographer. But what you really want to do is have that background blurred out, such as in this photograph of a family photographed on a pathway. This is only 4.0. Now, it's not 2.8, although that lens could have done that. It's 4.0 with the aperture, so it's pretty wide open, but it's not as wide open as it could be because I wanted to make sure I got the whole family in focus. But it is critical to keep, when you're using those shallow depth of fields, to keep everybody on the same plane as much as possible. So all four of these people in the family are about the equal distance away from the camera. And you can see how blurred out that background is, and it's not distracting to the photograph. Also, you'll notice in this photograph, the family's not right next to the background. That was another thing I noticed in the portraits that were on the walls in people's homes. Often people were right up against the background. And that keeps the background in focus as well. So you want to move them away from the background when you're doing a portrait. And you can see that also in this mother-daughter portrait, also shot with that same 200 millimeter lens, and it's shot at 4.0. Again, not 2.8, although the lens could do that, but I wanted to make sure I got both people in focus. But you can see that background is very blurred, very soft, and the people stand out. And this goes beyond portrait photography. Sports photography is also done in the same way with shallow depth of field, as you can see with this baseball pitcher. The pitcher stands out off the background because a wide open aperture is being used, which also for sports gives an added benefit because a wide open aperture allows you to use a faster shutter speed. And maybe that'll be another video. What's the relationship between shutter speed and aperture? I'll do that in another one. In this next photograph, it's somebody rappelling down a rock, and he's got someone belaying him from the top. And when I shot this is taken with a 200 millimeter lens, but I left the aperture more stopped down. It was set at 6.3, and the reason for that is that because I wanted to make sure I got both people in focus. I didn't want just one of them in focus, one of out of focus, and then it also keeps the rock in focus a little bit. But because the background way back of the valley below is a distance away, it's out of focus. And one last thing I want to talk about too, this shallow depth of field can also work for like vegetation, flowers. Here's a blossom on a tree that really stands out from the other blossoms. This is also taken with that same 200 millimeter lens, but its aperture is 4.5, and of course we're closer up to the flower as well, which softens up the background. Let's go ahead and recap. And remember hopefully I get them all because I'm doing this off the top of my head. So I got to remember. My memory sometimes isn't that great. You can see the gray and the bear getting a little old. But to recap, the best way to make your depth of field more shallow is by having a wide open aperture. And that could be like 2.8 or 4 or 5.6, a setting like that. And it's going to depend on your lens. The more expensive lenses could get down to 2.8 or 4, and the less expensive lenses is probably 5.6. And as you zoom out on those, sometimes they may start at 4, but when they zoom out, they get to 5.6. Any event, keep it as wide as your lens will let you do it. Also, the distance to your subject, close up on a subject, makes less depth of field. A telephoto lens makes less depth of field, so 200, 300, or 400 millimeter lenses are going to have less depth of field, and also the distance from the background. So the farther away from the background a subject is, the more likely that background is to fall out of focus. So there's a little recap. If I forgot one, sorry. Watch the whole video, you'll see it there. And also, one thing, just to put a little spiritual note in, you know, we want to get shallow depth of field in our life when it comes to our focus. Our focus needs to be on God. We need to let everything in the background go blurry so we can see God better. So let the background of your life go blurry and focus on God and the things of God. So that's it. God bless you. And you want more information, visit my website, thecreationspeaks.com. Thecreationspeaks.com. You can see I got a blog there about faith and photography, as well as I do something called the Visual Bible Verse of the Day. So God bless you, and may you draw near to Him.